Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the card might be thin in college football this week, but all winners and losers presented by Dos Equis, we've got a full, stacked and packed and jacked show for you tonight. Moving right to left across your device, my name is Tony Basilio. Nashville Lee is back for another week with us, a.k.a. Tennessee Lee, a.k.a. T. Lee. The superstar, Will Heflin, is in the house. Kyle, the man who's looking forward to the weekend, Blackburn, is in the house. C's in the house. Brian Hartman's in the house. Where Sans Blair and maybe the Juki will stop by and share a pick with us at some point. But in the meantime, C, I come to you first off another stellar appearance on your Tony Basilio show on Thursdays, where you were stellar today, C. Grade the card for me.
I'd say like a B. It's an okay. I mean, it's not like last week, but there's a few games. Maybe a B minus. I don't know what kind of scale we're using here, but just from a watchability, B minus for me.
The truth is, it's not like the loudest card in terms of matchups, but Lee and I were talking before we got started here, before you guys jumped into our room tonight. This entire season and this entire sport is captivating. Can't take your eyes off of it. Hey, Lee, there are storylines for ages this season, all kinds of storylines, and they're going to come to pass this weekend. Maybe one of you will talk about this Texas trip to Florida. I mean, to see Arch Manning and how he's going to perform down there is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, like you've been talking about on your show this week, like all the possible topics that like come to your head watching college football with, especially with the transfer portal, in particular with the quarterbacks. Like, well, if this quarterback had gone to this team, how much better would this particular team look? You know, would they have won this game with this quarterback? And so it's really interesting to go back and look, and with these teams evaluating the decisions that they make in the off season. How does it change from year to year based on what's happened? Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it's pretty fascinating. I love it. It's super intriguing.
Will Heflin, I bring you in. Do you have any I'm just kidding you. Will, why don't you go ahead and throw out the first pitch today? VIP play, Will, as we're presented by our friends at Dos Equis Lager Especial and our friends at VIP Play. Dos Equis Lager Especial, a golden Pilsner style beer made from the choice of hops. Ladies and gentlemen, with it being an off weekend, I'm going to go for Dos. I might go for Trace. I might go for Dose, 14 before it's over. Once. Would you like me, Willie, if I got really gassed? Do you think I'd be fun if I got gassed around you, Willie?
Yeah, I mean, we need to test it out for experimental purposes only, but I mean, it's something we gotta try out once. Is just get really deep down that road and see what happens.
Kyle, do you think a blasted Tony would be fun to be around? Yes or no? Where are you, Kyle, on that?
I'd be more concerned about an unblasted Laura Basilio near you.
Well, she's told me in the past. A golden Pilsner style beer, ladies and gentlemen, nuanced blend of malts and earth tones. Look, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Time to kick our feet up, watch some football, and grab some Dos Equis. There's a dose calling your name in that family of beers. Cervezas Mexicanas, 2025, White Plains, New York. Will the thrill throw me out the first pitch here, my brother?
It's truly an honor. First pitch. Maybe it's because, speaking of pitching, I've got Garrett Crochet, the real superstar, behind me in the background. If you're not watching on YouTube, that's who's behind me today. Hopefully he can help provide some good plays. Maybe one as, I guess we'll say, heavy as the Alabama one last weekend. I thought we might get on here and make fun of that call, but turns out it was right. So that was a fun one, Tony. But it's not about last week. It's about this week. Cincinnati's your first play for me. It opened at 3.5, immediately steamed down. Cincinnati's now favored. So if you were earlier than now, then good for you. But it's a classic unranked team at home playing a ranked team. Iowa State's 5-0. They're really good. But Cincinnati has been phenomenal. Sorsby has been lights out since that first game against Nebraska. They were able to shut him down, but they played a lot of man. Iowa State plays a lot of zone. Cincinnati at home, short home favorite. Money line's minus 120, minus 125. Lines 1.5 or 2. We'll just go money line.
Anybody else on the Bearcats? Any thoughts on the football game to the panel?
Yeah, we talked about. I think Josh Boy brought that one up on the Thursday show, Tony. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Cincinnati as well. I wasn't going to be one of my plays, but I think it's a good spot for him. I'm not sure Iowa State can keep up in the back end with Cincinnati. Sorsby has been really good, like Will said. Yeah, it was. I grabbed a little. I guess I got plus 1.5. It's jumped all the way to Cincinnati being favored now. So yeah, I think that's a good play. Cincinnati's kind of been a sneaky. You know, they were on that national TV game in the opener against Nebraska. Really could have won that game, but they've been pretty good since then. They had kind of a sleepy game against Bowling Green, I believe, in week 2, but they've looked pretty good in the last 3 weeks.
All right, see, you're on the mic. Go ahead. Give me your first play from the colleges. By the way, our panel will pick 3 games from the colleges, 1 from the NFL. We will select our power plays from there. Last week, we went 2-2 in our power plays. We went for dose last week. We went for dose, ladies and gentlemen, when it came to the power plays. And Nico saved the day for us with a backdoor cover for the ages at Northwestern. Go ahead, C.
Yeah, great performance by Nico. I was locked into that one almost as much as the Tennessee game. Great win. The result doesn't matter. You got the cover.
That's
But I'm going to go to the Florida State Miami game. I kind of thought about this as soon as that Virginia game ended. Where Miami's playing at Florida State. It's plus 4.5 here. Obviously, Miami's very good. We all know that as far as just on paper, especially up front, they're very, very good on both sides of the line. They have great players. Florida State, though, coming back home after that loss to Virginia, I think they kind of were looking ahead a little bit. I mean, everybody and their mother was on Virginia last Friday night, I think, because of this. It was one of the reasons. Malzahn, we saw the game plan he had against Alabama. I think he'll probably have something good there for Castellanos against Miami. And then, you have the Cristobal factor. If Miami can keep this close, I don't think anybody wants to be. I mean, I was on Miami against Notre Dame, and he did everything he could to try and lose that game. And so if Florida State can keep this close, you have an advantage with just not being on Mario Cristobal's side here. 4.5, obviously, it's a pretty good number, I think. I'm not sure Florida State's as good as, I guess they were like in the top 10 last week. I don't think that all things equal that they're that close to Miami, but I think it's a very good spot, and there's a lot of things going for Florida State here. And Castellanos, I think, can probably make some plays against Miami, just enough to keep it close. And then you kind of, I think, are going to be hoping that Cristobal gets in the way like he always does.
Yep. Yeah, Cristobal thinks that Josh Heupel had a really good late fourth quarter against Mississippi State. Does anybody have a thought on the Sunshine State battle?
Yeah, I agree. I think Florida State money line is a good play too because I believe they can win that game outright. I don't trust Cristobal at all. He's going to slip up. And Beck's a wild card. Carson Beck.
Yeah, they're going to slip. I mean, he's going to, Lee, this guy, if you get him in a close game, can crack late. We know that. We've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would be on Miami here if it wasn't for Cristobal. This just feels like a game he's going to find a way to possibly screw up. I mean, I looked at this for a long time, like really wanting to back like Florida State, but I couldn't find like anything I really liked, like matchup wise. Like I think Miami's better everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think Miami spent $1 billion on their secondary, and they really only got like one receiver they got to shut down, and Deuce Robinson. Like I'm not a big Castellanos fan. But man, I can't lay points here on the road with Cristobal. So I mean, I know a lot of sharp guys are on Florida State. Feels like that's probably the side. I'm going to back away though and just kind of watch this though. I think Miami's really good. I'm just worried about Cristobal.
Yeah, we were talking today. I mean, Miami bought the safety off Tennessee's team, and if you haven't heard the backstory, I mean, I learned this week the agent for that kid came to Tennessee and said, "Hey, we have an offer," and Tennessee didn't believe him, and now he's been very good for them. They bought him in the late spring, and that's part and parcel of the type of spending that Miami's done. And according to people I talked to behind the scenes, Miami paid way over market value for him to the point where Tennessee didn't believe it. And the kid ended up, leaving it. I mean, who does that? Leaves at the end of spring. Pretty nice player, too. Lee, go ahead. Since you're on the mic, give me your first play from the colleges.
Yeah, so I'm going to do something I don't know if I've done. It's been a long time since I've done this, but I'm going to play over 52.5 with Air Force and Navy. Going over in a service academy game, something feels weird, but yeah, I know a lot of people are saying to bet the under on this, and it's just basic. They're saying, well, it's a service academy game. You got to go under.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have more than that to bet this under, because if anybody's paid attention, these defenses can't stop anything. In particular, Air Force. Like this defense is one of the worst in the country. Like they got obliterated last week by Hawaii. They couldn't get Hawaii off the field one time. Gave up 44 to Hawaii. Gave up 49 to Boise. 49 to Utah State. Like they're incapable of getting stops. And I think Navy goes up and down the field on them. And on the other side, Air Force offense is good. Ever since they found their quarterback, Zach Zerka, like it's a really solid offense. I think the strength of these teams is really throwing the football. So yeah, I know there's familiarity, but I'm on the over here. It's weird. It's a service academy, but I got it at 49 a couple of days ago. It's been bet up to 52.5. Like I think that money is sharp. I think this game is going over this total.
Anybody else on this game? A la Lee. Anybody else on this game? I will say one thing, Lee. I was looking the other day. I was trying to do a little bit of, shall we say, looking up some numbers. Air Force has one of their wide receivers is in the top 5 in productive wide receivers in the country. Because I was looking at it because I was trying to see where Brazel stacked up to people in terms of the Blitnikoff Award. He was named on the Blitnikoff Award, so I was doing some background for the blog. And Air Force has a guy that's way up there in this. Just to what Lee's saying, don't be fooled by this whole
Cade Harris
thing.
Cade Harris, he went for 116 yards last week, like 179 the week before, and he's kind of an all-purpose dude too. Like, he's really, really good. Yeah, it's a really good offense, but their defense it's full of all newcomers, a bunch of young kids back there, and I don't see these teams holding each other down.
Lee's over 54.5 in a service academy game. Air Force Navy. Brian Hartman, get on in here.
Well, I'm going to go back to a well that's usually pretty good to me, and I'm going to go with Texas State. I like this Texas State team in the Sun Belt. They're at Arkansas State. They're minus 13.5. And Butch Jones's team, they've lost 4 straight. They beat some directional FCS school in their first game. They lost 4 straight since. And they're at home, but Texas State is sans probably the second best team they played next to Iowa State. I believe Texas State can put up a pretty big number, and I think they get the 13.5 home. I think Butch Jones's team, it's about the time in his tenure where they kind of tune him out like we talk about, and I look for Arkansas State to take the other side as they fade them as much as you can the rest of the way. I'll take Texas State minus 13.5.
It's already Butchie Boy's 4th season, guys. And this is it. This is when they unplug on him. This is how it works with Butchie Boy. Anybody else have this game on their radar? All right. Kyle Blackburn.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go to the SEC. I'm going to have a lot of folks I know will bet on Texas at Florida. I'm going to play the first half total under at 20.5. Texas doesn't really score early in games. I don't know that they've actually scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Florida doesn't score much at all either. And both teams have very good defenses. So if this holds true, I don't see 3 touchdowns being scored in that first half unless one of the fabulous quarterbacks gifts it to the other team. Also saw that it was possible to play the first quarter under, but for that exact reason, I decided to stay away. So I think ultimately you could even consider playing the over for the full game, depending on the adjustments made, because I think Sark will make some. But Billy just doesn't have, somehow Billy does not have a great offense. And with those defenses, I'm just going to play the under on the first half, 20.5.
I don't know about Billy. I don't know that he would know what to do with offensive players if you gave him offensive players. The way he plays college football, it's like it's 1970 something. Anybody have any thoughts? And what do we think about this Texas game with Florida tomorrow? One of the more intriguing games on the card. The storylines are all over the place. Look, Florida loses, they unplug. Texas loses, and Arch Manning looks bad. He could be like a national laughingstock come tomorrow night with all the commercials he has. And he could be Jackie Nicholas out there for people like me that remember when Jackson was trying to play on the PGA Tour. Will, what do you think of this game?
Well, Kyle's reasoning on the first half under makes a lot of sense, but I like Florida in this game. No good reason other than they need it, and Arch has struggled, and Florida's defense has kept them, I guess you could consider it afloat, but
yeah.
They're for real on that side of the ball, and so
they're excellent.
If DJ can figure it out for 5 minutes in that game, they might win it.
Kyle was doing some research before the deal. Hey, Lee, do you know how many sacks on the year Florida's defense has? Kyle, give that number out. This is crazy when Kyle told me this earlier today. Give that number out, Kyle.
3 total.
You guys believe that? They've given up like 5 touchdowns all year, and they have 3 total sacks. How good is
back 7?
How good is their back 7, guys? And when you watch them play, their back 7 is on you like a glove when you watch them play.
Yeah, that is surprising. I would have figured it was more than 3.
Me too.
They've got one of the higher pressure rates, so it's just one of those pressure rate to sack ratio things, I guess, is really low. But I know they do get to the quarterback, or at least pressure him. So yeah, I like this. I like anything pretty much to do with the under. I played Florida's team total under 17.5 points. That's the way I ended up playing it. So I can't see Florida getting over 2 touchdowns and a field goal versus that Texas defense.
Think about it. Arch Manning would have to turn the ball over 3 or 4 times for them to score over 20 points, right? And that's the reality of it.
It would be turnovers. Yeah, that's really what you're hoping. That'll kill an under real quick. Is a couple of a pick 6 or a turnover on the other end of the field. Yeah, but I just can't see Florida scoring on that Texas defense.
AC, you've got some boots on the ground in Austin. What's your sense of what we're going to see from him tomorrow?
I think that it sounds like they're pretty committed. They're going to try to run the ball, establish their run early. So that also is good with the first half under. There's been also, there's been some discussion and some anxiety in Austin about their personnel choices offensively outside of Arch. Some people think that they've not been using the right, especially at running back. They've not been focusing on getting the right guys carries. So I think they're gonna, from what I've heard, it sounds like they're gonna run the ball, try and establish the run, and then let Arch kind of feed off that. Maybe let Arch run around a little bit. It's not an easy defense to run against, though. But yeah, I think especially if they do that makes the first half under even more attractive, I think. So I like that play. I like Lee. I don't see really any way for Florida to have success offensively in this game against that Texas defense. Probably, I guess, right there with Ohio State, the two best defenses in the country. This is going to be a long day for Florida, as long as Texas doesn't give them short fields.
Hey guys, if you could prop bet on these colleges and go like singularly, what would the number of picks be or turnovers from Florida? What would you guys put the number at to incur action going both ways? What's that number going to be?
2.5 or 3 even, probably.
But if no one's
Just a random
scoring,
guess.
and that
Do
if
what?
no one's scoring and the defenses are so good,
Yeah,
I would lean towards Napier not even allowing Lagway
I
to
wouldn't.
turn it over. I think it's partly going to be baked in. If no one's scoring,
Yeah.
that plays in Florida's favor, and
Yes.
they're going to keep it real. I mean, he's only going to be allowed to check down, and they're going
Yeah.
to run the ball, and they're going to play that game just basically. Let's just limit possessions, play field position,
Yeah.
and put it on our defense. Texas is going to have to score some points before Florida will open it up enough to let Lagway turn it over, unless he just kind of goes rogue on his own, which he's proven to do.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
the LSU game, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I wonder what
Go ahead, Brian.
I wonder what Steve Spurrier thinks watching games like that.
Well, the other thing is about Napier and about their approach. By the same token, Kyle, if somehow Texas comes out early and gets up 2 scores, then you have a desperate quarterback back there trying to do things he's not capable of doing. Then it turns into the LSU game. Then all bets are off. But let's move along. Will Heflin, we're back to you. As the wheel
Go
of
for
karma
Dose.
turns here, and when you go for Dose, my friend, your second pick.
Tony, I got a question for you. Is humble pie best served hot or cold?
I don't know. When I screw up, I just ignore it. But when I get something right, I really pound it home.
That's a good answer. We'll say humble pie is best served cold, and when you combine that with bulletin board material, then you find yourself taking Alabama -10 because Pavia's in for a long day in Tuscaloosa, and they've done a lot of talking. So
Yes, they
there's
have.
no handicap, there's no numbers behind it. This is good old fashioned. It's a revenge spot, and there's bulletin board material. If DeBoer's got any sort of gumption, then they absolutely hammer Vanderbilt. And I couldn't care less. This isn't an emotional pick. Obviously, Bama looked good at Georgia last week. They've shown they can play Georgia good no matter what's going on. But they lost to Vandy last year, which was basically derailed their whole season. They were kind of high on DeBoer. They were like, wow,
National
this is going to be a
embarrassment.
seamless transition from Saban. And then the wheels fell off. If they can, they're going to run it up on Vandy. So my thing is with the 10, you're like, man, it's kind of a weird number. I guess it's not weird. It's even. But you're like, it's a little high. Vandy's been very competitive. It's either they don't come close to covering it or they cover it with ease. So it's one of those spots where it's like 9, 10, 11 doesn't really matter to me as much. It's either going to be Bama by a lot or similar to last year, just a super nut cutting game.
My boys in Nashville. I'm speaking to Lee. I'm speaking to Kyle. There's a graphic out there in that's making its rounds on social media. Vanderbilt has the oldest team in the league by far, guys. Now, they obviously have loaded up for this year. Lee, how does Vanderbilt perform tomorrow? Pavia has written a check, maybe with his mouth, maybe that his team can't cash, or then again, Lee, maybe they can cash it. Maybe they're old enough and physical enough to cash it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm on the full game over here, over 55.5, and I did go ahead and play Vandy's team total over 21.5. I just think that's low for this Vandy offense. Like, if you go back and look at Alabama, look at these games they've lost the last 2 years since DeBoer's got there. Think about all these teams, what they have in common. They lost to Vandy last year, Oklahoma last year, Michigan last year, Florida State this year. None of those teams are teams that drop back and pass the ball. Womack is great at defending like the pro style stuff, like the spread stuff. these option quarterbacks, running quarterbacks, the ball fake stuff, like, I don't think Womack knows how to defend it. His players are completely lost trying to get lined up in this stuff. Like, they're on their heels constantly. They don't know what's coming at them. And I don't think that changes. Like, I think Alabama will be ready for them because they beat them last year, and they can win the game. But I don't think they're slowing Vandy down. Like, I think Vandy's going to score on them. Until I see, like, Womack stop that sort of offense. Like, Michigan last year only threw the ball like 5 times, and they killed them. Same thing with Oklahoma. Like, Florida State didn't have to throw the ball, and they crushed them this year. So Vandy's added a lot to their offense. Like, I think there's a lot of points in this. I don't know for a fact if Vandy's pass defense is any good or not. They really haven't played anybody that can really throw the ball.
Right.
Sellers was like 6 for 7 for 94 yards before he got hurt in that game.
Yes.
So I'm not really sure if they can stop Bama. I kind of feel like they probably can't. Like, I feel like Bama's going to put up points. So I like points. I bet the over, and I did take a shot on Vandy's team total just because I thought 21.5 is low for a team that's scoring 70, 51, 44, 31, so.
It sounds like you guys are singing off the same songbook. Hey, Kyle, I know you know a lot of those folks from the community you're in. What do you think, man? How does that, your ears to the ground, how does that Vanderbilt team respond with all the trash at quarterbacks talked?
Well, I think the true Vanderbilt fans are they're excited, but I don't think they think they're going to go in and win. Now, a lot of the sidewalk alumni, which is almost everybody in Nashville, because Vanderbilt's such a small school, but a lot of the folks that have kind of jumped on the bandwagon, et cetera, the vocal minority, they're talking a lot of trash, but they were talking about where it lands on the schedule. And I just said, y'all, there's no sandwich play here, and there's no real letdown spot here. Alabama has owned Georgia for the most part. We talked about it last week on the show.
Yeah.
So they go in expecting to beat them. Was it a big game? Sure, absolutely. It was in Athens, but they expect to win, and they're going to expect to beat Missouri next week. So I just don't believe that anything is going to be different. Just like Lee said about their offense or defense, I think Bama's going to be prepared. I think Vanderbilt's going to go with a good game plan. I just think it's important for Vandy to keep it close and not let Bama jump out early, because part of Vandy's strategy is kind of playing keep away from you. And that plays into that misdirection. That plays into the, running up on the ball and then sitting on it for 30 seconds out in a no huddle. And then every so often you run the play, you run a little Sally play with the fullback, whatever, and you do your thing. But if you're chasing points to keep up with Bama, I just don't think that's going to work as well. Even though I think on offense they do have athletes, and that's what they do, man. If you think about Vandy, they're almost what Clark Lee has done is put the final touches to what even Bobby Johnson and James Franklin's vision was a long time ago. Because that's what Bobby Johnson did, was he brought guys in that were not very good, and he said, you're not going to see the field for 3 years. You will be 21, 22 years old before you even set foot on the field. And that's partly what was a springboard for James Franklin, having so many players. He had a bunch of old dudes on his team that he inherited during his time. And then he was the one that kind of stepped up and said, well, we can do better. We can do more. So Clark Lee's kind of got all of that recipe put together with this season and with these guys. But I think a lot of folks just think it's a fun story right now. Pavia's fun. We need more of that in college football. And now there's a lot of anticipation, because it's like, are you going to go out there and really do this and, put yourself in lore forever in college football? Or is it going to be kind of what a lot of Vanderbilt fans, which is a lot of pain? They have a worse degree of it than we have as Tennessee fans.
What you've got in Vanderbilt, and Richard today had a great line on our radio show, which I didn't even thought of. But you've got a team like a Boise, one of those teams. You've got basically a power group of 5 team, an older group of 5 type players playing in the SEC, and we're going to see how well it functions. I need to turn my notifications off, but it's time for me to notify you that my friends at Dos Equis, ladies and gentlemen, a lager beer, most well-known varieties, Dos Equis Lager Especial, which is a pale lager. You can try the Ambar Especial as well, which is a Vienna lager with a richer flavor. Let me go without further ado back to as we're presented by our friends at Dos Equis. Will just went for Dos. Now let's go to C, who will go for Dos. C.
All right, I'm going to go with. We kind of talked about how bad the Navy and Air Force defenses are.
Yeah.
There's another Service Academy team that arguably has an even worse defense.
Yeah. Go ahead. I got to talk to my brother here. This is fun.
That defense is Army, especially with the pass defense. They're going up against a UAB team that we saw here. I'm not. What is that line right now at VIP play? Will, do you have that? UAB and Army.
Let me scroll and find it real quick for you. See.
I know it's been moving a little bit.
Two horrendous defenses is your point, right? Say.
Yeah, that is one of my points. But my other point is
58 is the total,
what's the spread?
7.
Okay, that's fine. Anything over 7, I'm taking UAB here. This UAB offense, I think, is going to be able to move the ball at will against Army. Army is. I haven't seen. I think they're worse defensively. Maybe not than Air Force, but definitely I think through the pass than Navy is even. And so UAB, we saw even against Tennessee, Kenton is going to be able to score the ball should be able to move the ball at will against these guys. They also already did play Navy in a high scoring game earlier this year. UAB did. So they've seen some of this kind of. Army's still trying to run this option, not very well. I don't know if anybody saw the game last week that Army played on Thursday night, but they kind of abandon it at times and try to throw the ball, which they also can't do. So I'm not really big on Army's offense. I know UAB has the worst defense, like maybe of all time, but Army's really limited offensively, and what they do, UAB's already seen. And UAB also hired Trent Dilfer's defensive coordinator is a guy who's spent some time at the service academies. So I think that'll help them in preparation. I'm going to take the points here with UAB. I think I was on them against Navy as well. I think that was in week 2, week 3. And the number was a little bit bigger, but it worked. So I like UAB here. I think their offense will be able to score enough to keep this within a touchdown. This is more of just a fade of our Army is taking a massive. Remember Army last year?
Oh yeah,
like in the top 15 in middle of November against Notre Dame before they got hammered there. So
we went from
a huge step back.
We went from like taking them every week. Now this year we're fading them every week.
Yeah, they're really bad, especially on defense. But their offense is pretty bad too.
I bet Lee's got a few dollars on UAB tomorrow. His boy down there. All right.
I do. I agree with that play very much. I'm on
really
UAB and the over too. Yeah. They'd said it all. Army, I still think is pretty overrated in the market. I don't think that's a very good football team at all.
Give me your next play, Lee.
Let's go back to let's keep playing these Notre Dame overs. Notre Dame and Boise over. I think it's 63.5 now, something like that. The number does matter. Like 62 and 65 are kind of keys, but I think it's 63.5. Yeah, this is just what Notre Dame's doing. Like that, they know they can't. They obviously can't lose another game, but they also need to like blow people out. Like they kind of know what they're up against here. And for 2 years now, I've gotten all over this Boise defense, and Boise's not going to be able to stop Notre Dame at all. Like on the ground, through the air, Notre Dame's going to be able to do whatever they want. And I think Boise will be able to keep up a little bit. This Notre Dame defense is taking a step back. Boise's going to be able to put up some points too. And typically these are the games Boise in its history, like they've played well in, like they've held their own in these games. So I think they'll keep this relatively competitive. I feel like the spread's actually a little bit too high here, but I'm going for points here again with these Notre Dame games. Notre Dame and Boise over 63.5.
Hey guys, Notre Dame's not fooling around on offense, as Arkansas found out last weekend.
No, they aren't.
Card's good, man. I don't think we understood
even right now.
Or 63, yeah. I don't think we understood how good his performance was against Miami in week 1 because it was week 1.
Yes.
But that Miami defense is pretty dadgum salty. Like, that's a really good defense, and he actually ended up probably having as good of a game than anybody's going to have against them all year. But yeah, the Notre Dame offense is absolutely legit. So yeah, give me the over. No, if you want to go Notre Dame team total, that makes sense too. But I just played full game over.
Brian Hartman, I come back to you, my friend. Go for Dose, brother. Go for Dose. Your second play from the college J's.
I'm going to go stick with the theme of cross-country travel. Washington has to fly across country to play Maryland, a classic Big Ten showdown between Maryland and Washington in the Washington, D.C. suburb. And Maryland is plus 6.5 at home. They're one of 3 teams in the country that haven't trailed this year. Them, Texas Tech, and Miami are the other 2. Washington is a 6.5-point favorite. They're coming off that Ohio State game where I kind of was on them last week. They got pretty much stonewalled by Ohio State at home, and now they got to fly across the country and play an undefeated Maryland team whose schedule is pretty much atrocious. But I like Maryland at home to cover the 6.5. I also think they might be a good money line play, as it wouldn't surprise me if they won outright. And the only question is, will they trail in this game for the first time at any point?
Hey,
so
guys,
give me Maryland plus 6.5.
What's the kickoff time in that game, guys?
I think it's 3:30.
That's also pretty solid. You know, obviously you'd like to see it be a noon window. Is anybody else on that Maryland game as well? And what about Brian's thing that Maryland hasn't trailed this year? They're one of 4 teams in college football that haven't trailed so far in the season. Brian, who are the other 3?
I think there's 3 total. Texas Tech, Miami, and Maryland have not trailed. And Maryland's schedule has been pretty much atrocious. They haven't played anybody that's really any good, but I guess Wisconsin, they beat Wisconsin pretty badly on the road, but still that's not a tremendously great accomplishment.
We're dropping facts. We're dropping knowledge on you on this edition of Winners and Losers. Kyle Blackburn, go for Dose, brah. Hit it.
A couple of my plays have already been brought up, so I'm going to go down to one we thought might have been an interesting game, and now it's not. Clemson at North Carolina. The first half spread is 7.5. Clemson minus 7.5. I'm going to play that. Jokingly, somebody put that game was going to be broadcasted at 10 a.m. on Cartoon Network on Saturday, which I got a big kick out of. But both these teams are pretty much unplugged, bad. They had a lot of hype and haven't lived up to it. I just think Clemson has significantly more talent, and it feels like more of a get right spot for Clemson than North Carolina. And I feel like this is also the kind of game that Clemson rolls, and then Dabo gets on the microphone in the presser and starts to use it as a turning point and say, see how good we are, we really are, how hard we fight, all the stuff he says when he kind of spews that word vomit. So first half, Clemson minus 7.5.
I would be inclined to say good play, good play. Clemson's going to wake up. Obviously, North Carolina's got a wretched football team. Does anybody else have this game on their radar? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Kyle, do you have anything else you want to share for us as you go for Trace? Your third pick. We're going to go backwards now. Just make sure you guys are awake.
No, I don't, because my other plays were the over on the Cincinnati Iowa State game, and then I had Bama covering at 10.5.
Let's go back to Brian Hartman. I know he's a pick and full. Brian's got like 6 games he loves on this card. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I am going to go back to our old friend Nico, and they're hosting Penn State, which is I've got 26.5. I think Penn State is flying across the country, but that game is going to be at noon Eastern, 30 Eastern, and I think Penn State's accustomed to that time slot. Actually, that's a noon Pacific time for Penn State, and UCLA's playing in that early time slot for them too. So I'm going to take Penn State to cover the spread. I think they could get several scores perhaps from their defense. Their defense is really good. I don't see UCLA scoring more than 10 points.
Yeah.
And I think Penn State is going to swallow them up. I like, even on the road, flying cross country a week after losing to Oregon. I'm on Penn State minus 26.5 against UCLA.
Right. Thank you. I get the sense, guys, that the UCLA Penn State game tomorrow is one of these games where Nico and his father really regret the way things ended here, because it's truly a game. And Lee, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. It's truly a game where that kid could get hurt tomorrow in that game with that offensive line, with that angry Penn State team in front of them. I mean, that angry Penn State team has one of the nastiest defenses known to mankind, even with the losses they had last year to the NFL.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad mismatch, yeah, with that offensive
Yes.
line for UCLA going up against Penn State's defensive line. Although I will say this, like, somebody likes UCLA because they've hammered it today. Like, that thing's fallen like 4 points. That was 28.5 this morning. It's like down to 25 now offshore. So somebody likes UCLA, but not me.
Let's move along. All right, Lee, you're on the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, go to Purdue in Illinois. I like Purdue here. It's 9.5 now. I'd rather be getting 10, but whatever. As long as it's over 7, take the home dog here with Purdue. I'm gonna fade Illinois in this spot. So I just think it's sort of like an emotional, like, letdown here, a weird spot. Like they had the game against Indiana 2 weeks ago. Then they bounced back last week against USC, where they won the game at the bell with the field goal. They got Ohio State on deck next week, and they're going to Purdue this week. Like, and they're laying 9.5 points. Yeah, I mean, Barry Odom's going to have his team ready for this. Last year Illinois was favored by 18, 20, something like that, and they had the game went into overtime, and Purdue went for 2 and didn't get it, lost by 1. Like, I know it's a drastically different Purdue team. This Purdue team is better than the one from last year, but none of the same players. But yeah, I think Purdue's will have to win this. Like, I don't think Illinois should. I would be laying 9.5 points here with them. Yeah, I like Purdue, and a little bit of Purdue money line too, but Purdue plus 9.5.
The middle to top middle of that league is very combustible. I mean, to your point, we saw that. We've seen that the last couple of weeks with them. I mean, who is Illinois? Who are they? You know, and it's kind of a sleepy spot, as you say, especially after trying to handle the success of that beating USC. Which, I mean, the job that's been done at USC, guys, that guy's got to be one of the most overrated coaches alive. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that ended up being like a really terrible spot for USC last week, having to play Illinois coming off that Indiana beatdown. Like, it set up really bad for them. And coming into that game, there was going to be a lot of injury concerns with Illinois. It turned out to be completely the opposite. Like, Illinois got most all their players back for that game, and USC was the one that had to deal with a ton of injuries. Like, they lost their all-world left tackle. Their center got hurt in that game. Wayne got hurt in that game. Like, they were missing a ton of guys in that. You know, they came back at the end and took the lead, but couldn't get one stop. You know, and that's going to end up, I think, really hurting USC. Like, I like this team a lot, but they really needed to win that game. But
C-Mania is running wild. All right, C, what you got for your third play from the Collegians?
I had Purdue ready to go as well. I was wanting to fade that Illinois team. Lee kind of touched on all of it, so I'll just let us keep it moving here since we're running a little long.
Willie, yeah, we are running long. No offense to you guys, Willie.
I'm good with going for Dose. I didn't even have a third play anyway, so let's keep it right.
Presented by our friends
at
Equis Lager Special. I love it.
I can lead us off in NFL, though. I've got a good one.
Well, before you do that, tell me about VIP playing the card this weekend and what we're doing.
Well, as C said, it's a B minus card. But at VIP play, you've got MLB playoffs as well. Believe UFC, there's a big one this weekend, Nashville, Lee.
Is that right, Lee? We have a card this weekend?
Yeah, man, UFC 320. We got 2 belts on the line Saturday night.
Let's freaking go. Let's go.
Pereira, right?
Yeah.
You got big time. You got my Phillies in action on Saturday with my Philadelphia Flyers. If you want to do a all Tony Basilio parlay, a little preseason hockey action, I've
Yeah.
won some shekels this week, boys, on some hockey.
There's a UFC boost, college football boost. All your boosts are available this weekend. So you've got a nice little mixer over at VIP Play this weekend of sports, not just football. Although football is king, we all know that. New customers bet $20, get $100 in free bets. Use code TNTony. Got to be in 21. Be in 10. I always mess this up, Tony. You got to be 21 and in Tennessee to bet. 1-800-GAMBLER if you got a gambling problem. Other than that, there's a little contest this weekend, Tony. And maybe you can cook something up to be an entry into that contest. The highest or the longest odds play, the longest odds ticket to cash this weekend is going to win a big bonus bet. So I think it's minimum plus 750. But head over to the app or X to see more details on that. I probably should have had it more pulled up, but that's a neat one. If you throw in a little lottery ticket, if it wins, you get an even bigger win. So,
Hey,
nice little fun one there.
Will, don't forget to read the gambling hotline number for Tony since he's been betting on preseason NHL hockey.
I did. I said 1-800-GAMBLER if you got
I've got
a gambling
two.
problem.
No, I've had two,
Tone,
bro. Yeah.
don't you put some money on your Sixers today in the Abu Dhabi game, preseason game against the Knicks?
I was talking with Nashville Lee about that. The fact that we're playing preseason NBA games is utterly depressing. But let's move along. Heflin, give me your NFL pick of the week.
Yeah, speaking of gambling problems and lottery tickets, the Philadelphia Eagles fans and players should buy one because they could very well be 1-3, and they're 4-0. Tony, I'm going to keep fading them until this stops. Denver's in a good spot. They can't run the ball. Philly can't run the ball. They can't keep getting special teams and defensive touchdowns and red zone turnovers.
Why? They're winners.
Over and over. I really don't like this Broncos team this year, but it's a good spot. I'm taking the 4.5. Maybe if I were going to bet, it would be a little sprinkle on the money line. But just for a pick, I'm going Denver plus the points. It's 4.5 right now. Public money's probably going to be all over Philly as they are every week. So it may end up, they may give you another half point, get to 5. It doesn't really matter at that. 4.5 is good.
That's nice of you, C, to sit there and diss my Eagles.
Well,
go ahead.
I'll have another play. I was gonna bet this Eagles team's one of the biggest rackets going. Just a total joke every week. I mean, last week they got outgained 2-1 by the Bucks. Every week they're playing.
They make winning plays. They're Chiefs.
It's not. We've seen this movie before.
Huh?
Didn't they go 10-0, looking the exact same way that one year, and then lost 8 straight and fizzled out?
This is nowhere near what we saw from the Eagles last year. This is headed towards the year where Jason Kelce was crying in Tampa Bay on Monday night. His last year when they lost 8 games in a row, like Will said. This team's a joke. This Eagles team.
I'm sorry, Tony.
That's pretty damn harsh. All right, C. So that's your play too.
Well, it would have been, but what are the Seahawks at 3 still? Will, or have they gotten to 3.5 against the Bucks?
They're 3.5.
All right, yeah. Let's just double up on the Broncos. That was going to be my play. So
we ought to play the Broncos money line.
That's fine.
So somebody would come down from Pennsylvania. One of my family members got wind of this. Literally would cut me out of somebody's will. You people are clowns, man.
I think we faded them every week. I think Lee had the Rams, and then we all had the Bucks last week.
But you guys aren't learning. You're not winning. We're not winning here.
This happened 2 years ago, Will.
Hang on a second.
The Eagles were running this operation 2 years ago, and it got them. It's going to happen again.
Lee got a kick blocked, and it was one of the worst beats of all time. He's not going to fool around with the Eagles again. I can promise you that.
We're just going to keep doubling down.
Lee learned.
I'm on the Broncos too. Steve's right. Like this is like, yeah. There's actually a stat called luck ratings, and the Eagles are number 1 in the league. Like if you look at how they're doing this, it doesn't make any sense.
Lee,
no offense to you, Tone. No offense.
No offense, Basilio. We don't mean to cheat all over your favorite team. But go ahead, Lee. Give me your NFL play.
No, well, I'll go ahead. I don't mind giving out the Seahawks minus 3.5 against the Bucks. I'm fine with it. I think the Seahawks crush them. Yeah, the Bucks are actually another team that's pretty high on that luck ratings list too. Baker's gotten away with like 30 turnover worthy plays, and he finally had an interception or two last week. Finally, he's fumbled it like 5 times, and they've recovered every one of them. But yeah, the Bucs having to travel across the country to Seattle. This is a matchup nightmare for Tampa. Todd Bowles, he's blitz happy. Sam Darnold's been number 2 in the league against the blitz in the last year and a half. On the other side of the ball, everything with Baker Mayfield, it's the same handicap every week. Can you get pressure on him without blitzing? That's what the Seahawks do. They blitz at the second lowest rate in the league, and they've got a top 5 pressure rate in the league. So, yeah, this is all Seahawks. I think the Seahawks roll the Bucs on Sunday.
Hey, Lee, does Callahan in Nashville finally beat
They're
us?
not going to fire him. I talked to somebody this morning. He said right now they have no intentions of firing him. That might change. I mean, she might she might get a wild idea after one game and go get trigger happy, but right now she doesn't have any intentions of firing him. It makes no sense.
Let's move along, because the number with him against the spread right now is what? It's insane.
Yeah,
right?
the point shaving operation in Nashville is 3-18 against the spread since he's taken over.
I mean, that's impossible. That's impossible in that sport to do that.
Yep.
It's a sport predicated on that, something like that being totally impossible.
Yeah, I don't know why we do these shows. You could just roll out a bet on Sundays and just fade the Titans and then just make a living. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Hartman.
Well, I would say Arizona minus whatever, but that's too easy. I think everybody's on that anyway, so I'll go for another one. The Texans are a 2.5-point favorite somehow in Baltimore, and I don't know if somebody with the Ravens is hurt, some key players out, or what's going on there. But the Ravens are 1-3.
Like their whole team is out. Lamar's Jackson
out.
and like their
okay,
whole,
I figured so.
And everybody. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to fade the Texans. They had a win over against the Titans last week, and as we said, the Titans are terrible. So I'm going to go with the Ravens plus 2.5 against the Texans in Baltimore. I don't care who's out. I think that Texans team's not very good. I don't think C.J. Stroud's very good, other than what they tried to tell us. So I'll say I'm going with Baltimore at home, minus 2.5.
Kyle Blackburn from the NFL, your pick.
I see Brian another week is trying to will the Jags to the division title in his brain. I am going to.
What in the world, man? Woo!
I'm going to.
I want some AFC
said,
South heat up in here. Let's get some AFC South. Who knew that y'all had like a pulse in the AFC South, Kyle? This is impressive.
No, that's just that. Brian knows what he does. He's always just dancing on everybody's graves with the Jags being 3 feet in as well. All right, so based on what you said, I'm actually going to try to make some money here and fade the Titans. Imagine that. That's why I said, guess what I did? I went back and looked in the app. Definitely VIP Play has some nice props, nice totals, nice little things you can do. So I'm going to take Arizona to win both halves against the Titans at plus 138.
Lee, what do you think of that play? Both halves at 138, Lee.
I mean, I haven't broken down the math and the pricing to see if it makes sense, but I mean, you get no argument for me. I mean, I don't know what case you can make for the Titans. Like offense, like their defense is somewhat respectable until they completely wilt in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Like I don't know. I just don't know what argument you can really make. Like it's just there's just nothing there. Like
they don't start games. They don't do anything well. Bino said when he watched the Colts with them a couple weeks ago, he said for the first time in a long time in an NFL game, he found himself feeling sorry for his opponent, who just has so little there. I mean, there's just that rookie quarterback is getting hammered, guys. I don't know. There's no way that guy makes it through that season. No way.
He just in the press conference came out and said, if we're keeping it a buck, we ass right now. He literally said that in the press conference, and now there are T-shirts saying that all over the place. And I think I'm going to give one to you, and I'm definitely going to send one to Brian Hartman.
You know, Kyle, I've had a rough life at certain points. I don't know if I could walk around with a shirt on that says, say that one more time.
We ass. That's what Cam Ward said in the press.
Yes.
Tony
If
I mean,
V's
that's
gonna
keep it
kick
basically
above
what
your
plus
Callahan's
100,
saying.
ass.
we ask right now.
I've been known to go 3 days between showers, so maybe on that third day
Those press conferences are the best thing about the Titans games. Listening to Callahan, it's way better than the actual games. And by
All
the
right.
way, I did buy I put a Super Bowl future in on Jacksonville 55-1 this week too. Actually, I think that team's legit.
Brian Hartman, keep your camera off and don't stand up. Brian Hartman's got some serious wood, ladies and gentlemen. You did what? Say that again, Lee.
Yeah, that's a good number on the Jags, like 55-1. I think they're going to win the division and get into the playoffs. At which point, that number ain't going to be 55-1. They get one home playoff game, they can win that, then you're in a good position to hedge out at that price. Like, look, they don't always execute right now, like, but it's a legit operation that Cohen is running. It's really good stuff. Like, he has great game plans. Like I said, they don't always execute perfectly, but I expect that to get better as the season goes and they get more familiar with it. They're finally running the right defense that fits their personnel for the first time in 5 years. Like, there's adults in the room now, and I think they've got really good players, and they're in a division that's very, very winnable. So I think that's a good number you're going to be able to at least gain some equity on as the season goes along.
AC, how many hours of sleep is Brian going to lose after hearing Lee pop for his boys?
We've talked about it. The Jags were very good value to win that division preseason. I don't. I mean, they're not a joke of a team. They're a fun team to kind of dunk on. They're everything about them's kind of a joke. No offense, Brian, as far as organizationally, but this year this team is not a joke at all. They're pretty solid. I think they're clearly the best team in that division.
They've only trailed for 18 seconds all season. They could easily be 4-0.
Yeah, they're
Probably
they're
should be
impressive.
4-0.
Oh my gosh, Brian. Will Heflin.
Brian, how many seconds has Tennessee trailed this year?
Will Heflin from the colleges has Cincinnati.
Sounds like a Dixie question.
Will Heflin has Cincinnati -1.5 from the colleges with Iowa State. Bama -10 versus Vanderbilt in a hate watch. From the NFL, he's got Denver +4.5, hating on me. C has Florida State +4.5 with Miami. UAB -7 with Army.
No, +7.
I'm sorry, +7. Right, my bad. That's why I read these out loud. Lee has Air Force Navy over 54.5. Over
52.5.
That's why I read these out loud. He has Bama Vandy team total over 55.5. Notre Dame Boise over 63.5. Purdue +9.5 with Illinois and the Seahawks -3.5. Brian Hartman, besides not being able to stand right now, has Texas State -13.5 with Butchie Boy. Maryland, who hasn't trailed all year, +6.5 with Washington in the 3:30 Eastern Time window. Penn State -26.5 on the road with the Fighting Nicos. And the Texans +2.5 with Baltimore, who
No, I got Baltimore +2.5.
You took Texans +2.5.
No, Baltimore's +2.5. That's who I got.
Oh, you got Texans -2.5.
No, I got I thought I like Baltimore +2.5 at home.
Sponsored by Dos Equis.
CJ Stroud.
You've already had. You sound like you've already had some of that. Whatever.
That's a pretty damn good line. Oh, Kyle Blackburn. Let's see if I can get through this without Texas and Florida. He's got the under 20.5 is the first half total. Clemson 7.5 in the first half, -7.5 first half line with North Carolina. Zona both halves at 138 with the Titans. Playing Zona both halves in the NFL. Guys, what are our power plays? Besides Basilio +4.5 Dos Equis. Rest of the night. Gentlemen.
I think Purdue should be one. C was going to get that one out too.
Purdue +9.5. All right.
I'm good with calls under too, like first half under 20.5 with Florida.
Yeah, I
and
like that too. I like that.
Florida, Texas. That's good.
What is it, Kyle?
Under
20 and a
20 and a
half?
half.
And you said Broncos 4.5 was the last power play.
And Broncos.
Is that what you said, Tony?
You guys are going to get me like, I'm not going to need Christmas cards this year from family.
Well,
yeah, we'll do
it's
that.
not your
They can
fault that
still
Jalen
win.
Hurts can't throw the ball.
They'll
Why
probably
not?
still win by 3, but we can still win.
We could go with the Broncos plus 4.5 Dodgers series parlay.
You guys,
And Flyers winless in preseason.
you guys really blow. All right, let's go one more. Let's do 4. We did 4 last week. 4's I might like 4 better. So
Give us a chance to break even. Give us a chance to break even.
We've got Florida State plus 4.5 with Miami. We've got why don't we do, just to make it really ridiculous, that Air Force Navy over 52.5? Because that on paper that looks silly, but I think that's a really good play. What do y'all think?
I mean, I'm fine going that way, and I'm also fine being even more ridiculous and playing UAB too.
Yeah, let's do UAB plus 7 with Army. Yep.
I know UAB isn't any good, but man, I don't think Army should be laying 7 points on the road.
So the power plays are Purdue plus 9.5, Texas, Florida under 20.5. In a first half total. Broncos plus 4.5 with my undefeated, untied, untested Philadelphia Eagles. Haven't even been tested this year.
They've been spitting though.
And then UAB plus 7 with Army. Any other final thoughts, guys? Lee, anything from the cage? See any like 100-to-1 shots in on some like distant tour you want to throw at us?
No, there's a regular PGA event this week, Tony, but I'm out of golf money after what the US did to me last week.
It's a great effort, guys. You got to give it up to the U.S. team. Great management and a great effort by them.
All right.
They went for dose, Tone.
They sure did. They went for dose.
They were sponsored by Dos Equis after the first hole.
Keegan's effort was sponsored by Dos Equis, that's for sure.
Lee, from the cages, what do we got this weekend? We have 2 belts on the line. Give me something smart so I can text Tony Vols later and sound like I know that sport.
Yeah, so just I know we're trying to wrap this up, but the 2 title fights, the co-main is Merab defending the bantamweight title against Corey Sandhagen. Look, Merab is exactly what his nickname is. He's a machine. Like, he's unlimited cardio. I like Sandhagen a lot, but he has to work in the margins because he just doesn't have very much power. His grappling's not the best. Like, his defensive wrestling's not very good. Like, this is going to be all Merab. I don't know if he gets Sandhagen out of there. Like, the problem with Merab this week is he's minus 400. We were getting him in so many fights at like even money or as a dog. There's still value on him at minus 400, believe it or not. I think like he's not going to lose this fight. It's likely going to go to decision. He's going to win 50-45, 50-45, something 49-46. And then in the main event, the rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Yeah, this is going to be the same result we got in the first fight. Ankalaev is too good. Fundamentally, he has no holes. Nothing is going to change from the first fight. History shows in these rematches, whoever won the first one is probably going to win the second one, and this is not going to be any different. Ankalaev, he's not exciting. It's probably going to be a really boring fight. He can cage press Alex whenever he wants and hold him against the cage and beat him up. He was 0 for 12 in takedowns in the first fight, and I think he actually gets him down. And if he does get Alex down, then I think he can finish him on the mat. I'm going to play Ankalaev to actually finish this time inside the distance. So, and you can get plus money on that. So I like Ankalaev inside the distance, and I like Merab by decision. You can just do their money lines and parlay them together. It's about minus 140, which I think is hell of value I know that's that word I don't like using, value, but man, I don't see either one of these guys losing this weekend.
Speaking of value, ladies and gentlemen, the clone has a few plays he'd like to share on the way out. And here's one. Here's one, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm the Juke. Call me Jukey. I've got you a heck of a play in college football. One college play. I'm taking UCLA team total under 11.5 points versus an angry Penn State defense. I wouldn't be shocked if UCLA gets bageled by this angry Penn State defense.
All right, that's one. That's one. Part two.
Well, hello, this is Vince.
No. Let's do part three.
And without further ado,
No. What is he?
none other than Jimmy
What is he?
Buckets,
All right.
Orange shirt.
And hang on.
Again, a great matchup of quarterbacks. LA Chargers with Justin Herbert. So Orange Sherbert and the Chargers are favored by -2.5 over a guy I'm familiar with, Jaden Daniels, outstanding second-year quarterback from LSU, and the Commanders will travel to LA. I hate to do this, Jaden, but I am taking the Chargers to win by a late field goal. Cameron Dicker at the buzzer, -2.5, Chargers.
All right, boys. Well, that'll put a wrap on that. Guys, thank you. It was a lot of fun. Those that stayed for the Easter eggs at the very end. The clone even got in there at the very end. Willie, are you fired up right now?
I'm fired up, focused, and
When we visit next week, Willie, let's go around the room here. Will my Phillies get through the LA Dodgers? Will they still be standing 1 week from tonight when we are recording and breaking it down scientifically?
sure, why not?
Boys, what do y'all think? Around the room. Phillies going to still be standing. Yes.
Yeah, they will.
I think the Phillies. I think this is the World Series. I think these are the two best teams, but I think the Dodgers are just too much. I think the Dodgers get through them.
I almost lost sleep there, Lee.
Dodgers bullpen gives the Phillies more than a chance in this game, in this series.
Yep.
Dodgers bullpen is shockingly bad, obviously.
If the Reds weren't afraid, if the Reds weren't not a little bit afraid of that spot, the Reds could have been in Game 3, and who knows? Because they can't get anybody out of that bullpen. Guys, I love you. Kyle, it's NBA season. It's unbelievable, Andy. Appreciate all
the
of
ridiculousness is starting. I love it.
I want to thank my friends at Dos Equis. Since 1887, been going for Dos and VIP Play. Check them out over on the VIP Play app. Use that promo code TNTony. Enjoy your college football weekend. For Lee, for C, for Will, for Brian, for Kyle, for Cloney, for Blair, who couldn't be in, my name's Basilio. Have yourself a great one. We'll see you over at tclub.team and enjoy your football weekend. Hit those winners. Stay the hell away from those losers. Peace. And I said peace.